The world's young leaders and activists are in Northern Ireland to find solutions to important global issues. And my guest today from the One Young World Summit is Peace Ambassador Zoya Miari, a Palestinian Ukrainian who has experienced being a refugee not once, but twice in her life. And she founded Waves to Home, which is a global storytelling movement for refugees, migrants and displaced individuals. Well, warm welcome to CNA, Zoya. Now, your journey as a refugee and being a woman must have been harrowing, or you've got lots of those harrowing moments. Can you just give us a specific moment that actually tested your resilience and left a lasting impact on you?
Hello, thank you so much. Yes, I remember escaping the war in Ukraine. I had to be the strong Zoya because I have younger siblings and I needed to be strong for them. I remember escaping the war and we were so terrified that at any moment we would get bombed. And I remember my mom looking at me in the train while escaping the war and telling me, Zoya, we should sing. And I felt this women power that not a war could take this spirit away from us. And I remember us singing. And I thought to myself, wow, like that's the spirit we are going to keep. Not a war would take this spirit away from us.
Now, as you mentioned being strong, Zoya, I mean, was that turning point, you know, when you were trying to flee Ukraine that made you decide to share your story with the world through Waves to Home?
Yes, I remember as a child in a Palestinian refugee camp, I used to feel ashamed for my reality, for living in a refugee camp, for living in a single room with my whole family for the first 15 years of my life. And here I was escaping the war in Ukraine, touching death. Death was very near. And I thought to myself, if I make it out alive, I'm not going to be the silent Zoya anymore. And I knew I had a choice to make because we are often put in a situation where we need to take a decision whether to become victims in life or warriors and fighters. And I wanted to become a warrior and fighter coming to Switzerland. And that's what I became, a warrior and a fighter, sharing my story and using my words as a way to fight peacefully.
And not just a warrior and a fighter, but a lifesaver as well, yeah, Zoya, because you're working as a nurse in Switzerland at this point, and you're also aspiring to become a positive psychologist. So how do you think your experiences as a refugee have shaped your approach to healthcare and psychology?
Yes. The way I see it, because I've been a refugee twice and my whole life I've been surrounded with so much violence, so many bad things happening, and there's the resilience that we as Palestinians in Lebanon always talk about, and we feel it. We feel this resilience. And in psychology, in the field of positive psychology, there's this topic of resilience and this topic of post-traumatic growth, because we often focus on the negative side of the events, but there's this aspect of as well, the post-traumatic growth. And I feel we need to focus on that because it's true that wars and occupation bring so much traumas and struggles and so much pain. But I also want to focus on the side where it also brings so much resilience, so much strength, and this internal freedom that no one is able to take it away from us. And that is what I want to focus on. That is what I'm focusing on in my message.
And, you know, it's refreshing because we always hear about PTSD, but, you know, we don't really hear about how you're going to use that and talking about growth. And also as a peace ambassador, so how do you see the role of storytelling in promoting peace and understanding between different cultures? And not just that, you've also got language barriers.
Last year, I remember participating in the One Young World Summit, and today I'm also at the One Young World Summit in Belfast. I remember sitting together with other refugees from different parts of the world, and we were sharing our stories, our struggles, and also our definition of home. And what I found is that storytelling not only heals us on a personal level, but rather brings us together. It connects us on a deeper level, breaking down all these barriers, breaking down all these cultural differences. And that's where through storytelling, we feel this connection. And I thought to myself, wow, we carry so much pain. We need to use storytelling in order to help other refugees, migrants, and displaced people. And that is how Waves to Home started, a global storytelling movement for these people to share their stories in a more empowering way. Because we as refugees are put in a situation where we often victimize ourselves because of wars we did not choose, because of struggles we did not choose. And we should not let these struggles define us, but rather our resilience. And that is what we are doing through this storytelling movement, to bring these people in order to become their own storytellers and inspire the whole world with their resilience.
And, Zoya, like yourself and other refugees, I mean, you've clearly gone through a fair bit of trauma, but we're seeing a lot of young people like your age, going through all sorts of, mental issues and just mental health. Clearly, that impacts quite a number of young people. So what advice would you give to others who have perhaps mental health issues, who have perhaps experienced displacement, and they're struggling to find hope, trying to find some light in that dark tunnel?
I think this is something I was discussing with our first storyteller, Munir, and he told me, like, Zoya, what I did was I allowed myself to feel all the emotions I needed to feel. He went to the bottom line when it comes to feeling all the emotions, and he told me there was no even a deeper line. And that's where he said, that was the moment where I could rise from it. So what I would say when it comes to positivity and finding hope, that doesn't mean not to feel our emotions or feeling the trauma, but rather accepting, yes, we have those traumas, we have that pain, but also there is the other aspect that comes with it, the hope. So I would say that it's okay to feel whatever we need to feel, but also looking at this side of the hope and trying to find a meaning in a certain way.
And being a peace ambassador, you must have spoken, lots of people your age, younger, perhaps older. Can you share a story with us, maybe from your initiative, right, Waves to Home, that particularly touched your heart and also exemplifies the power of resilience? Someone like a strong Zoya. Could you tell us a story about that?
Yes. There is Manal, a Palestinian refugee who was living in Lebanon. And because of her documentation as a Palestinian refugee, she was not able to travel and move to Europe to start her master's degree. But Manal was so resilient, and she didn't want these struggles to define her reality. And what she did, she created a campaign, she created a video sharing her story, going back to the power of storytelling. And that's where her video went viral. And through her video, she was able to get that chance to go to Europe and study and achieve one of her dreams. So I think, like, with resilience, when it comes to this resilience that we have coming from these backgrounds, the resilience is what keeps us moving. The resilience is what keeps the fire within us to keep on moving forward and not allowing these struggles, the war, the occupation, to stop us from anything. Because whatever life could take from us, the only thing that nothing can take away from us, from my life, from other refugees, other storytellers, is the internal freedom that we have within. And that is what we are keeping.
That's a very beautiful way to end this interview. Thanks very much for sharing your story and the story of others as well. Zoya Miari from One Young World's Peace Ambassador.